That we're going to talk about a person that lived in a house that was haunted. It was definitely haunted. Where someone lived there, be downstairs and they'd hear footsteps upstairs when there's no one else home. Occasionally they'd find that light that they're sure they turned off, but that light was left on. And every now and then, sometimes the water would start running up in the bathtub for no reason. Nothing terrible, but was some paranormal activity, and just enough to make life a little interesting. Well, one night the person went to sleep. This person starts having a dream. Now, this dream was equipped with a video and audio. It was quite accurate, quite realistic. In the dream, he was walking out through a wooded area. It looked like there was a trail, like a dirt bike trail, that weaved in and out through trees, just missing rocks and things like that. He came around, there was a little incline, some trees, and then a drop of several feet down to some rocky area. And noticed there was a young individual down there. He was obviously riding the motocross bike, which was seriously bent around a tree. Looks like he had missed the turn, tried to correct, but smashed into a tree, and then down that about 5 or 6 foot hill into those jagged rocks. And there he was. And he noticed that this poor young man's head was swelling rapidly. His head was starting to get rather large. As he approached the individual looked at him. Could see that the individual was still breathing. His eyes were open, and he seemed in pretty fair spirits. He moved closer to the hurt individual. He said, "Hey, how are you doing? What's up?" And he figured it was good to try and keep this fellow calm by talking to him. Looked like he was really hurt, but I'm going to try and make sure he's going to be calm, and I'm going to try and get some help there. The gentleman asked the young man how old he was. He replied that he was 16. Managed to smile. I asked him where he was from. He was from out of state. He definitely had an accent. He said that he'd come to the state because he'd done some things that were not too good. And he was afraid to go back because he disappointed all the people that loved him. Now the man was getting his telephone out, trying to get a signal. He noticed the head was still swelling. Swelling and the hair was falling and eyes were beginning to get a little larger. Blood seeping out from areas around the eyes. He kept looking into the young man's eyes, kept telling you it's going to be okay, he's going to get a signal, it's going to be all right. And then the young man's eyes brightened and took a final breath. At that point, the gentleman awoke. Absolutely terrible, ugly feeling. His emotions were running wild. It was unbelievable. He felt so helpless he couldn't help this person in this dream. He just couldn't explain this thing, and it was absolutely one of the worst dreams he'd ever had in his entire life. Wondering why this dream happened. What's going on? I went to bed like normal, woke up the next morning. I was at work. Last night he had talked to a friend about the dream. His friend had just sent him an article about a young man who had died in a bicycling accident. This accident had happened about a week ago in a neighboring town. He looked at the article and there was that face, the face that he had watched die. The article said he was 16, very soon to be 17 years old. His single mom loved him dearly. It was her entire life. So he played this scene, this dream, over and over in his mind for the next week or so. He decided they were going to somewhere to try and get their mind off of this. He and his friend got together and went off to a place where they're having a carnival, kind of a party activity. Unfortunately, about 2 hours, they'd had their fill of this festivity. Took his friend back home, and then he drove back to his house. Pulled into the driveway, and he had this vision of this young man again. The young man that he'd watched die in his dreams. He opened the door to his house, greeted by his dogs. And he noticed there was kind of a strange atmosphere in the house. Kind of a thick, almost electrified atmosphere. So he headed to the bedroom to change. When he got to the bedroom, he saw something he never really thought he'd ever see. He entered his bedroom, and there in the middle of the bedroom was his armoire. Now this gizmo that held all his clothes was a good 7.5 feet tall. Had 3 doors. It was a good 6-7 foot wide. This shelf unit took up an entire section of wall. It was big enough to hold his entire wardrobe. Yet somehow this giant section of wall was moved out 4 feet to the center of the room. This basically stopped the gentleman right in his tracks. His head, his heart, everything was reeling. He couldn't believe this. He called his friend that he just dropped off and told him, "You're not going to believe this. You're not going to believe this. You've got to come. Get over here quick. Get over here quick. You're not going to believe this. You're just not going to believe this." His friend asked, "What's wrong?" He said, "You're not going to believe this. My armoire was moved. All my clothes that were in it's moved. It's in the middle of my room. This giant thing is moved and it's sitting in the middle of my bedroom." So his friend got there and they struggled and struggled with this large piece of furniture back where it belonged. They noticed that there was this ribbon that had kept the first and the middle doors closed. Had been undone and was hanging off the left door. He tied it up again, fixed it, and they went and they had dinner. Dinner was quite normal. No problems there. The gentleman got back up, walked back to the bathroom, and passing his bedroom, he stopped dead in his tracks. The ribbon was now untied, hanging on the middle mirror door. He called his friend, "You got to see this. You've got to see this. You saw me tie this off. Look at it. Look at it." His friend said, "I have no idea. Are you sure you tied it tightly? I can't believe this." So they went back to the living room, talked this thing out. They couldn't believe what they just seen. What happened? What did it mean? Why did it happen? So he told his friend, "Look, let's go out. You watch me. I'll tie this again." And they went back to the bedroom, and it was tied. It was tied again, the way it belonged. The entire feeling in the house at this time changed. That static kind of energy that kind of electrified the house was gone. It felt peaceful. It felt quiet. Apparently, this game was over. Anyway, that's a story about a fellow with a terrible dream. Thank you very much for watching the video. Please like, subscribe, share with like-minded friends. Feel free to leave a comment. Don't forget to hit that bell below so you'll know when I release my next video. Thank you. Take care, everybody.